All right, we are here with Artur Cabal for another Be the Exception podcast. Artur, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For sure. This is your first ever podcast, right?
First ever Blacklisted podcast.
Yeah. You think you're going to get on a grid podcast next season?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Actually, I did a couple of podcasts with Jason. And so Jason, CF Media.
I don't know. He's a grid guy?
Yeah, he does CrossFit and grid.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he's from the UK.
Oh, okay.
So he covers a lot of grid, and he's been a lot more invested in grid this past couple seasons.
Okay.
Which was really nice. And so I did a couple with him. I did one with Daniel as well. Daniel is also covering a Grid and Grind podcast.
Is
covering grid this year. So I did a couple before.
Gotcha.
First one here, though.
Okay, yeah. First one here for sure. I actually don't know if we've had, outside of Amanda, I don't know if we've had anyone on that's been like a repeat guest, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
Amy was a
repeat
guest.
Amy was
recently.
Amy was the first repeat. Yeah.
Those are cool.
Yeah, those are fun ones. Well, we might have her on more often. She's a riot.
She got good conversation.
yeah. So Artur, I think we're just gonna get into we're just gonna talk about you today, kind of get your story, get your background, how you obviously came to the States, what got you into CrossFit. You've been a pretty good athlete your whole life, so I think you went from playing a tall person sport to playing a short person sport, so definitely want to get your perspective on that. But yeah, if you just want to start out, tell us like who you are, tell us your background, tell us how you got to the States, where you grew up, and let's just hear more about your story.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know me, hi. My name is Artur Cabral. I'm originally from Brazil. I moved to the U.S. about 11 years ago now, just over 11 years.
So how much time did you spend in Brazil? Like when did you move? Like what age did you move?
18. I was 18 when I first moved to the U.S.
Okay, so you lived 18 years in Brazil and then moved over to the U.S.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Got it.
So growing up, played all kinds of sports. Started with swimming and martial arts and a little bit of soccer because every kid in Brazil plays soccer at some point in their life.
Yeah.
No matter how good or bad you are, you try. It's like you're mandatory, soccer practice for a couple of years. Right? So played all kinds of sports, even dabbled in basketball. Not my jam though, even though I'm tall. But when I found volleyball, I was about 10.
Okay. Were you tall growing up too, or
not until I was like 14?
So volleyball, you were just like
I was like normal height.
Really?
A normal height child.
Okay.
And then, like from 13, it was like between 12 and 14, I had a really big growth spurt. Is that how you call it? Spurt?
Yeah. I guess
growth period, I guess.
I don't know if you don't know Artur, and if you can't tell by the camera, or if you're listening, he's 6'5", so a taller CrossFit athlete for sure.
Yep, exactly. So I was a normal-ish size kid up until like 12.
Yeah.
And maybe just like above average, but nothing like, oh, he's really tall.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had that growth period of time until I got to 14, and that's when I was almost to the height I am now.
So is this like
6'3" at that time?
Every month you're having to go out and buy new clothes because they don't fit anymore. Yeah.
Like clothing, shoes. Like I just like had to buy new shoes so often because my feet would grow so fast.
Yeah.
So it's like I could never have a shoe for like over a year.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So that was my life growing up. And I even played tennis for a few years, even after I found volleyball and etc. So always involved in sports, always involved in athletics to some degree. My family always played sports. My parents played volleyball growing up. My uncle played volleyball growing up. So that was kind of like in the family, although they never really asked me to try. They're like, hey, like it's there as one of the options, but they never forced me to try to play volleyball. So, which was cool. And I found it. And when I was about 14, I wanted to take it more seriously. And by the time I was 15, I was playing like for the state. So in Brazil, you have like club, but you also can like represent your state in the national tournament.
How many? Sorry, this is a little off topic. How many states are there in Brazil?
27. 26 plus the capital. So 27 total.
The capital is its own state. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, off topic.
No, you're all good. So there are club tournaments and there's also like state tournaments. So like let's say if I was from here, I could represent Georgia in the national tournament.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what we did. And in one of those national tournaments, I was scouted to play for a club in the southeast of Brazil. And it's a really big club. It's called Minas Tênis Clube. They have all kinds of high-level sports, from martial arts to swimming to all the ones that I listed just now.
Yeah.
And their goal is not their goal, but one of the ways you can go is to prep you for to be a pro player.
Gotcha.
And they do have pro teams for all of those sports as well. So like they have, swimmers that have won the Olympics. They have judo, athletes that have been to the Olympics and stuff like that. So it's a really big club, and a lot of kids go there with the intention to like, I want to play professionally one day.
Okay.
That was kind of my intention when I was 15, got scouted to go there, try it out, and made it into the team.
Okay.
So I played there for 3 years. In my last 6 months there, I was starting to practice with the pro team.
Wow. Okay.
Which was a super cool experience. Like playing with a couple of my idols in the sport was awesome.
That's crazy.
Being like a 17, 18-year-old kid playing with like people I've adored my entire life was such a cool experience.
Yeah.
And getting to know them, it was really cool. And right after that, I went to, I had not the desire, but like, what am I going to do next? Am I going to just play pro? And one of the coaches from that club, she also had a company that helps students to come to the U.S. to get an education and play college volleyball here.
Well, maybe backtrack a little bit because I do want to hear about like when you met the pros. Was it?
Oh yeah.
Were they like what you thought they were, or was it kind of like were you like disappointed meeting them, or?
Not disappointed. No, there was a kind of like a mix of personalities. Like some were more welcoming and like kind of like taking you under the wing.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I really want to help you to grow. I know you know, like it's the first time. Don't be nervous. I was a right side hitter at the time. So like one of the players that I got closer to, he was a setter, and the setter has been to the Olympics like 3 times. And
oh, really?
I was like practicing on the same team. He's like, don't worry, I'm going to set you balls. I'm going to set you up for success. And like, he'll give me a chance because they could be very well like, oh, I don't want that kid, messing up my practice. I'm going to set to the guys that I know and trust. So it was really cool to have that like help coming up to like a higher level of the sport. But I wouldn't say I had any like bad interactions with anybody or any like people that didn't vibe with. But again, like I didn't meet every single player that I looked up to. But yeah, the experience was really positive. The coach was really helpful with the younger guys because we had a batch of us, like 6 of us that got moved up to the pro team and were practicing for the first 6 months of the season. So that was a really cool opportunity to have. Yeah,
super cool. So this coach helps you get an education and go to the States to play volleyball. Mm-hmm. What is like the level of college volleyball in the States versus that club team?
So I think it would depend on the conference that you play.
Okay.
On the conference I started playing coming in from like practicing with the pro team to that conference was a little bit of a shock as far as like the level. It was lower.
Okay.
It was a little bit lower. But that was by choice.
Okay.
On my side. So when I was planning to come to the U.S., I had different opportunities for different colleges, right? And I could choose to go to a bigger school with less scholarship.
Okay.
or go to a smaller school with almost a full ride and not have, student debt, and kind of
Yeah.
like make a name for myself or try to grow the school program with me.
Okay.
And that's what I chose. I chose to go to a smaller school in a smaller conference than I could have been, and kind of like help bring the level of the program, to a nationally recognizable, school.
Oh, okay.
Which we did. Like we got some players. Like after I joined the team 2 years later, my junior year, I brought two of my friends from Brazil from the same. One from the same club I was in, and another one from
Okay.
my rival club. They're like we, linked up, and we were friends since then. I was like, hey, if you guys want a scholarship and play, like come over, let's make this team better. So it was really cool to have like friends from back home
Totally. Yeah.
playing with me. So that was
So this was after your freshman year you did that, or?
right. It was my junior year. So I had
So
2 years. It was just
Yeah.
I was not the only international, but I was the only Brazilian in the team.
So what was that? What was that 2 years like? And then was it just like a sigh of relief of like, man, I have people I know now, or like friends here? Like,
Yeah, it was a little bit like I went to Coker College in Hartsville, South Carolina.
Okay.
Really small town, like 2,000 students in the school, like super small. And so nobody speaks Portuguese.
right.
Like no, like for 2 years, I did not speak Portuguese besides like with my family on the phone.
Oh, okay.
So like in real life, like in person to person interaction, I was not speaking Portuguese for nearly 2 years, which was like really challenging. It was my first time in the U.S. Of course, I knew the language, but when you come here, if you know a language and you go and live in the country where nobody speaks your language but the native language, no matter what, it will be a shock. It will be like a adapting period. So I always tell the story of for the first 6 months, I had like constant headaches.
Oh, trying to like understand the language.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like trying to understand the language and process, like your brain's not used to process a different language 100% of the time.
Right.
So like it's almost like same we feel like working out, right? Like if I work out really hard, like last weekend, I'm still really sore.
Right.
Like that's how your brain feels. It's a muscle,
Right.
It's an organ, but like when it works hard, it's gonna be tired.
Mush almost. Yeah.
So like working hard to understand a new language, and like not only a new language, but also a country accent. It was deep South Carolina. It was like no joke. A lot of like heavy accents.
You got thrown to the wolves right away.
Yeah. So like if I can't understand South Carolina accent from the countryside on my first year, I'm set forever.
Yeah. Right.
Like there's no accent I won't understand for an hour.
Right.
So yeah. So I had a lot of like little things that I did to help me with the language. So, of course, I knew the language, but every time I would hear a word that I didn't know, either in class or in conversations, or like I heard somebody say that word, I would have a notebook and write down. And however I thought it was spelled, not necessarily the right spelling, I would just like write whatever. And then at the end of the day, I would go through all those words and like Google Translate and memorize all those words
Okay.
like over and over again every night to try to like increase my vocabulary.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I learn more, increase my vocabulary, learn more words. And to this day, like, hey, the group chats know that every time, I'm talking to all of our friends here from Blacklisted, like, hey, I don't even know what that word means. Like, to be honest, so like I'll go and translate real quick. I was like, is that really what it means? Or is that in a different context? Like to this day, I'm still learning new words, and it's been 10 years. So it's like,
Right.
It's a constantly, learning process.
Right. Right. That's awesome. That's definitely some dedication to to learning the language. So that's cool.
Yeah. So props to people who speak multiple languages. Be like speaking two and a quarter languages is like hard enough. Speaking like people that are multilingual, speaking like 3 or 4 languages, like big props to them.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Crazy.
It's a lot for. It's a lot of work to get to that point.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome though. So junior year, you brought two buddies over, played with them. You guys brought your college up to like a nationally recognized level.
Yeah, yeah. So that was really fun. It was kind of like I think it was a sigh of relief for me, but more so for them because like I've been there for 2 years already, and
Yeah.
I was kind of like guiding them on like even little things like grocery stores here are completely different than grocery stores in Brazil. So like, hey, this is how you buy laundry detergent, or like here is like where you go to get this type of thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it was good that I could kind of like lead them in a way
Yeah.
and make their lives easier because I already learned the past 2 years, and also for our volleyball team was a big help.
Yeah.
They're two really good players, and so that was two big additions to our team in like my junior senior year. So
Yeah.
I had the pleasure to have them uh, playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that helped the program to grow a lot and get some like national recognition, just outside of like our little conference. So.
Yeah. Did they finish out all 4 years there then, too?
Yeah, they did.
That's awesome.
They did. They finished top of the class, which was a whole transformation. Like historically, neither of them were like good students.
Really?
Sorry to out you guys. But historically, like in like up to high school, they were not like good students or like really, invested in studies, and like they turned around and they were super dedicated students, graduated top of the class. They
Wow.
spoke at their graduation.
Did they
which was
really?
cool. Like they were the two student speakers for that class's graduation.
Wow. That's
So,
crazy.
that was awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome to see their transformation and where they are now. Like one of them just had a kid. Shout out, João. Just had a kid like 3 weeks ago. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, that's awesome to see like how they progress in life.
Yeah, for sure. That's sweet. And you kind of like mentored them into that too then, huh?
Yeah. And I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to do that because like when I first got there, like I had nobody.
Right.
Like for 2 years, like of course I made friends, especially with the team and classes and stuff, but I didn't have anybody that could relate like to my situation.
Right.
Like, brand new into a country, like how do I order on a restaurant? Like those are things that you don't think about. That's
Yeah.
like for the people here is just normal, but like
Right.
for somebody that's not from here is learning the language, you're like, what did they just say? And you have to ask like so many times, and you feel bad for asking like 3 or 4 times, but like you really don't understand at first because in the service industry sometimes they can speak too fast and with an accent, and you don't understand, and they have like. If you're ordering a coffee, my goodness, there's a billion choices.
Yeah, right.
Like you can't just ask for a coffee. They have a billion questions afterwards. So like all those things are confusing. And if you have somebody to help you out and guide you through it, it's kind of like it's nice.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a little bit easier to go through.
For sure. Yeah. So you're kind of like the path paver then for these guys to come over.
It was.
Yeah, that's sweet. So what happened after graduation?
Yeah, so after graduation, I went back to Brazil, which was not primarily the plan.
Okay.
So I went back to Brazil, and I was like, okay, I want to give it a shot to play professionally.
Okay.
Either here, like the U.S., for the people who don't know, the U.S. does not have a men's professional volleyball league. There have been attempts of forming one. None of them really succeeded long term. So I had to either go back to Brazil, which is like, I would say the second strongest league in the world volleyball wise.
What's first?
Italy, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So say like go back to Brazil or go to Europe somewhere to play. So easiest choice is to go home for a month, like figure it out. I end up getting a contract to play in Brazil. So I played in São Paulo for a season for a team there, and then ended up going to a different club for the next season, close to the capital of Brazil. So I lived in Goiânia, and it was a super cool experience playing against, like I said before, like people that I've looked up to my entire life.
Right.
Playing in stadiums that were filled with like 8,000, 10,000 people.
That's
like
awesome.
a crazy experience. I've
Yeah.
never had experienced that before. Like in college, yeah, there's a couple hundred people there watching, but it's nothing like one memory is like separated from all the others. We were playing this team in São Paulo, and the stadium is really big, and it's like a round stadium. And we had like almost 8,000 people from the opposite team. Of course, it was a away game for us.
Okay.
And they're super passionate, like crowd and supporters. And you had almost 8,000 people just like screaming the entire like 2.5 hours of the match.
Really?
So loud that you can barely talk to your teammate on the court. Like you can't even hear your own voice. That's how loud it was.
That's crazy.
So it was a crazy experience.
Yeah.
We had a good game there, but yeah, it was one of the craziest experiences I've had as a pro.
Yeah.
It's like playing somewhere that I couldn't even hear myself speak.
That's nuts. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
How was 8,000? Is that like a filled stadium for them?
It was a filled stadium.
Yeah. Okay.
Like people standing. Yeah, that was like
that's
packed
nuts.
full.
Yeah, that's got to be such a sick experience, though.
Yeah, it was really cool. And like the cool thing is like the crowd like go out and like you go into your bus to leave the stadium. They're like chanting still outside of your bus. It's kind of like
really?
soccer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like soccer.
Yeah, it
fans.
sounds like it. Like they're that passionate about the sport.
So like flag swinging and like all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
So it was really cool. Some of the matches will have that, like the more passionate crowds. So some of the matches not as many people, but yeah, that experience, that game specifically was
pretty nuts.
It was like a core memory for sure.
Yeah, that's sweet. So you played 2 seasons in Brazil then?
In Brazil, yeah.
Okay. And so after the second season, were you just like, what happened? You keep playing or?
Yeah, so I was deciding what I wanted to do next. So that same coach from 4 years prior, or at that point, almost 6 years prior, that took me to the U.S., helped me to get to the U.S. with a scholarship. She calls me and she says, hey, so what are you doing next season?
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know, probably. I don't know if I'm going to stay here. I mean, maybe I'm like trying to go to Europe for the first time. I don't know. Like I had a couple of things in the works. And she goes like, would you go back to the U.S.?
Okay.
I was like, what? I already played my 4 years. I'm done. Like,
right.
There's no more eligibility. And she was like, actually, not necessarily to play. Would you want to get your master's degree and coach?
Oh.
And I was like, I never thought about that. So I gave a couple of days to think about it. I was like, well, like, why not? Like, I didn't have any contracts signed at that point. I was just negotiating. I was like, if I go and I don't like it, like, I'll come back and try to play, like, the second half of the season and sign a contract then. So I talked to, basically, it was to come to Georgia Tech, be a graduate assistant coach, and get my master's degree at the same time and help the women's program, help coach the women's program.
Okay.
Because the head coach is Brazilian.
Okay.
And the assistant coach, now the co-head coach, he is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist.
For Brazil?
For Brazil, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So the coaching staff was led by 2 Brazilians.
Yeah.
And they wanted to keep building that, like,
the Brazilian culture.
camaraderie.
Yeah.
So I talked to the coach, got on a call. 2 weeks later, I'm in the U.S.
Wow.
And lived in her house for a month, in the coach's house, and just coaching and studying to get into Georgia Tech.
Okay.
So did that for a couple months, got into Georgia Tech for a computer science graduate program, and continued to coach at Georgia Tech as a graduate assistant.
Wow.
For 2 seasons while I was doing my master's there. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's sweet. So what was that experience like relative to playing then?
It was very different.
Yeah.
And when a lot of people talk about how not always a good athlete is a good coach.
Right.
So it takes a lot of adapting. I had to learn a lot on how to manage athletes' feelings and how to give feedback because, like, of course, they're upset they missed this shot. And, you know, you have to give feedback as a coach, but you can't be too harsh at times, you know. because it can make it even worse.
Right.
So it was a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
But thankfully I had two of the best coaches that I could possibly have on my side to guide me in like, hey, here's our methodology, here's how we communicate with the athletes, etc. And when they had to correct me, they measured no effort into like correcting me, which I really appreciate. If you know me, I know I'm like no bullshit guy. Like talk to me straight.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sugarcoat it. I just need straight to the point.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that type of communication. They were like, hey, let's not do it this way. This is a better way to do it.
Right.
That's how we do it here, etc. So it was a lot of learning, which I really liked. And it was a completely different type of joy. Like when you see athletes succeed and not yourself. Like I learned. Not that I learned, like I grew to be happy for them.
Yeah.
And be happy for the team doing well besides just like me doing well.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I do think there is a little bit of a learning component to that, especially I think more so from the athlete coming to the coach side of things. There's a little bit more of like a learning component to watching other people have that joy that you're like, I used to have that,
Yeah.
And I think one thing about CrossFit is like you kind of get that from the classes, like coaching the classes as an athlete, and then you kind of as you transition in, you kind of already have that experience. So it's interesting to hear that you were able to develop that, and I'm sure your mentors and like the coaches you were working for helped kind of develop that or kind of bring that thought process out. Or
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, we would meet as a coaching staff and we'll talk through like how to better not provide, but how to better coach different players, etc., because of the different personalities. And that's never something that you think about when you're a player, right? Like that's never something like I just got to do my best and help my teammates do the best and kind of win the game. And that's
right.
basically what goes through your mind. But as a coach, you got to think about like who are the best players, playing time, like players' feelings and performance and all kind of like and relationships and all kind of those things that you don't really think as a player. And you also learn how to be more selfless, which is a skill that I'm really glad I developed during that time period. Like just to be more selfless and kind of like do it because you want to help them and not for any like self gratification. Like you know what I mean? Like not for your own gratification.
Yeah.
Which is like they're improving, they win the game, they win the conference, whatever it is, and it's like they're celebrating, and you're just like on the background, really happy, cheering for them.
Right.
But like they did it. You just kind of guide them, help them develop to the point to get there. And I'm sure you relate to that, as being a coach for so many years. Like it's a good feeling to also provide that to other people, and see their progression, their happiness and all that.
Totally. Yeah. It's it's very fun to watch your athletes succeed. Cause like at the end of the day, when you start the coaching process, like you're stepping away from the fame and the spotlight at that point in time. And you're like, this is somebody else's turn. And I just want to help them achieve that and like feel that. Cause like I might've been there at one point in time. Now it's this person's turn.
Right.
Yeah. So no, it's a very cool, experience, to have that happen, but it definitely does take a certain type of individual you really have to care about people to be in that realm, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you got to be okay with like providing and probably never really getting anything in return.
Right.
Like, yeah, like athletes would thank their coaches and etc. And as someone that I've been on both sides, I try to be thankful for what my coaches are doing and vice versa. Like when I'm an athlete or when I'm a coach. But kind of have to be okay with like, if they succeed and they're doing great and you never, get like a thank you or anything in return, like that might be how it is. And you just got to be okay with it.
Yep. For sure. So you spent 2 years coaching there. Did you want to continue coaching there, or did you continue coaching there? Or?
So once I was also a graduate research assistant So I was also helping like doing the same but on the academic side. So that when that happened, my last year of my master's degree, it got a little bit too heavy on the workload.
Mm-hmm.
So I just since on the academic side I could have my tuition paid for,
Mm-hmm.
I opted for that on my last year.
Okay.
So I helped coach. I was a graduate assistant coach for 2 seasons. Then up to step away just to finish my master's degree and have my tuition paid for. So I didn't have student debt
Yeah.
once again.
Smart.
And I coached some club on the
Mm-hmm.
side just, for the enjoyment of coaching, which was a really cool experience working with like teenagers. And it's a completely different crowd
Yeah.
too, which is another learning curve because like you can't speak to 12-year-olds or 14-year-olds the same way you speak to like 20-year-olds, right? Like in
Right,
college.
right.
So it's a
Yeah.
completely different like skill set you
Yeah.
have to coach that group of kids compared to like college
Right.
athletes. So that was a cool experience too. And then in that mix of things, I started coaching a little bit of CrossFit too, like
Okay.
the classes, and that's how. Not how I got involved, but that's
Mm-hmm.
how I got more involved in the community. I used to just do classes here and there, and then started doing classes every day. Got my level 1, started coaching, and then from there on, a couple of years later, I was like, oh, maybe I want do something a little harder than
Yeah.
just classes. So I started doing an extra lifting session, or like more accessories, or do an extra metcon.
Yeah.
And from there on, did the training programs and tried a few different training programs, etc. So,
Right. So how did you end up getting into CrossFit then?
yeah, so it happened a lot earlier than that.
Okay.
So when I was in college, I would go back home, and there's a coach that was friends with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a personal trainer, and he goes like, hey, do you want to try, like, I do kettlebell training, do you want to try to come, like, let's do a few classes to help you prepare for the next season, whatever. So I started just with kettlebell training, and like kind of like powerlifting movements, like deadlift, bench, squat, and like a bunch of those kettlebell, purely kettlebell training.
Okay.
Did that for a couple of years while like in summer break from college.
Yeah.
And in similar fashion, another trainer, when I was doing that, approached me and said, like, hey, I'm opening a training center, whatever. You should come try it out. And it was like a CrossFit gym. So I did it in my off season.
Okay.
And I did the classes there in my off season and really liked it.
Yeah.
And even when I was playing professionally, despite not being allowed from like not being cleared by my coaching staff, I would like sneak out twice a week and go to a CrossFit event.
So you basically got the bug like right away.
Yeah. So like sneak out because like our routines were pretty intense. Like we would wake up, train for 2 hours, go back, lunch, weight room for an hour and a half, practice for like 2.5 hours in the evening, do physical therapy, and then sleep and repeat. Right. So that was like a full day. But 2 days a week when I was feeling like better, I would go and like I didn't have a car, I didn't have anything. So I'll run 2.5 miles
To the
to
CrossFit.
the CrossFit gym, and then do the class and run back.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a bike, I didn't have a car, nothing. So I'll jog 2.5 miles to the gym, do the class at like 7 p.m., jog back
Yeah.
like twice a week. So that's how like I kept the training going, and like that really helped me. Like I had less knee pain, like
Really?
from jumping so much in the gym, like because I was getting stronger in my
Yeah.
lower body. So like that, the CrossFit training, even twice a week, helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Playing. So
Yeah. It was just kind of like it was getting rid of the repetitive motion, a lot of the repetitive motion that you were doing inside of like the sport itself.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like we jump so much during the day,
Right.
in volleyball. Like we were jumping probably 300 to 400 times a day.
Right.
So it's like, it's so much of the same repetitive motion where, or swinging a ball, like the right shoulder will get worked up a lot, like swinging a ball hundreds of times a day, in different manners, different speeds, of course. But yeah, so it was a change of the same repetitive movement, and kind of like in some ways slowing down to do like strength work, like the strength piece of the day during class, and even on the mat, like doing different movements than just jumping. That I think helped to alleviate some of the pains and stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's pretty cool. It was kind of like your almost like your physical therapy for the sport. Yeah. But yeah, definitely that seems like a cool like cross training experience. And so when what was the culture of the gym down there like super competitive? Was it more class oriented? Like, did you guys even, because there's a lot of gyms I feel like in Latin America that are just like globo. It's like get 500 people in there.
Yeah.
Like you're at like 60 people a class or something crazy like that. Like what was your experience at the CrossFit gym there?
So back home, there were I'll say 2 CrossFit gyms that I attended while in Brazil. So back in my hometown, it was like larger classes. I want to say like between 20 and 30 people.
Okay.
But the gym was big enough that
it could support that.
Could support that big of a class. So I think the experience was good. The community was fantastic. At my hometown, the community of that gym is fantastic. And I think that's kind of like what drew me into keep going there.
Okay.
There were some competitive people, but like it was not. I think like South America was a little bit behind on the competitiveness of the sport compared to the US. Like that was like, I'm talking 2017, 18. Like
it wasn't quite there.
Like there was not a lot of competitions at all.
Right.
Like people were just doing because it was cool and everybody loved it. So there was not a competitions those first years. But when I was playing pro, of course, I was not trying to compete in CrossFit at all. I was just doing classes just because to do something different from jumping all day. That gym had a couple of people that were like, the owner had been to regionals a few times. Like there were a couple of people that trained with him that like were more competitive. So there was a different vibe. Still a great community and still a great gym, but there was a little bit of a different vibe because like the owner was really into competing. Like he would host a competition once a year, that type of deal.
Right.
So that was like my first exposure, and I didn't compete during that time. I didn't really know how those things worked.
Gotcha.
But I could see like the shirts, the regional shirts on the wall.
We're up
and
there,
like all those things.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. So was that like, seems like you had a better experience at your first gym. Is that kind of true, or?
I would say they're both good experience. I think like people are more community driven, maybe because I was there more often.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Like I knew more of the people, and like the other gym, I was just going like a couple times a week, so I didn't have that much exposure to everybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So was that other gym kind of the gym that lit the fire for competing, or was that just late? You like got exposure to it, and then later on the fire got lit to compete?
Yeah, it was later on.
Okay.
So after I moved to Atlanta, I found a gym, CrossFit Atlanta, rest in peace.
Yeah.
They just closed.
They were the longest standing CrossFit gym in Georgia.
In Georgia, yeah. They were one of the first few.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. We competed against them in 2014 at the games.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They had teams at the games, the regionals, and the early days. So, yeah. So, that was because it was 3 blocks from the house I was living in.
Okay.
And I started going there as a member, and eventually, so they hosted a lot of level 1s.
Okay.
So I eventually got my level 1 and started coaching there, the morning class. And so after the first year of doing that, I was like, oh, maybe I want something more. Mm-hmm. And one of the members there invited me, like, hey, do you want to do this Christmas competition? I think it was like that at the end of 2018.
Okay.
you want to do this Christmas competition? I was like, how does that go?
You're
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we did. It was like a team of 3, 2 guys and 1 girl on a team.
Okay.
And it was a blast. Like we got third to last. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like we got like 9th out of 12 teams.
Yeah.
But it was a blast and it was super fun and people came to watch. I was like, wow, like people come to watch this. So it's kind of like a new experience. And
Totally.
I was like, oh, maybe I want to do an extra Metcon every day. And like after class, I'll do an extra Metcon. And then I started doing, comp train because everybody did comp train. That's the only thing I knew at that time.
Right. Yeah.
And then, I started doing a little bit more, and then started competing, I think, in the small local ones, probably like end of 2019 or,
Okay.
And then there was COVID, so there was a break there.
Right.
Yeah, and then I did beach brawl, I think, for the first time in 2021.
Okay.
So
that was shortly after we met you, I think, then.
Yeah, or maybe 2020. I don't remember when it was the first beach brawl after COVID, or even if I did 2019, yeah, because I've done beach brawl, I think, like 6 years now.
Okay.
But yeah, and that ignited even more because like, oh, there's more people on the beach, like so cool.
Yeah.
And like I, continued to do the open and did beach brawl every year, and then that was like a staple. Like I'm gonna do that competition every year, and then started doing other little competitions here and there, and there was a thing like garage games or something like there used to be like those local competitions. I started doing those, like, yeah, and here we are.
Yeah. It's crazy how you get kind of hooked with that. Like the first one you do is just like a bug, and it's like,
oh yeah, like when's the next one?
Yeah.
Like first time you get on the podium, we got like, I don't know, 3rd place or intermediate. Like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that also kind of led into grid. You played grid for 3 years now, right?
2 years.
2 years now. Yeah. 2 years. Yeah. So that kind of led into grid as well. And now you're like I guess a multi-sport athlete technically.
Multi-sport, yeah. CrossFit and grid, yeah.
Yeah.
So last year, kind of jokingly, we were at camp, our first camp of the year.
Yes. Yep.
At Breaking Boundaries still. Before, or was it 2 years ago?
That would have been 2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago. It was a camp that we had at Breaking Boundaries, and Dan was there.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, coach for the Atlanta Wild.
Yeah.
Then it was Gainesville Wild. And I was like, hey, kind of joking. I was like, hey, if you need anybody for your grid team, because I was watching because Amanda and Griffin were doing it.
Right.
I was like, oh, I kind of know them.
Yeah.
Like, I've worked out in the same room as them. So let me watch and see what they're doing. And Sydney Wilson was doing it too. And I knew her from like competing here in Georgia.
Right.
I was like, I watched the season before that. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I can do some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Dan, I was like, Dan, if you want somebody to do like real fast rope climbs and box jumps and tall people things, let me know.
Yeah.
Here's my number. I literally gave him my number then. And
you shot your shot.
I shot my shot. I was like, this is going nowhere. Like, they're way too good.
Yeah.
And he later texted me and he's like, hey, dude, like, I'm so sorry we have a full roster, but I can connect you with like another coach, one of my friends. So that's when Dan connected me with Briley, the coach and owner for the Palms.
Yeah.
And she called me, and we had a 30-minute call. We talked through things, and she sent me like a few testers, and I did it. And I think what sold it was the burpee to ring touch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the burpee to 9'9" ring touch. That is one of the races that we have to run for grid, and it always shows up. And a lot of teams break apart because they don't have anybody that's tall enough or can jump high enough to do them.
Right.
So teams, when they find somebody that can do them,
they're like oh my God.
Yeah. So I think when I sent that video, it sealed the deal.
She's like sold.
Yeah. So that was cool. And I competed last season, 2024, with them, and then again this season, 2025.
Yeah, that's sweet. And you had more of a role this year.
Yes. So
R.I.P. to Cody's shoulder as well.
yeah. R.I.P. Cody's shoulder. Hopefully you're back soon for next season.
For sure. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I was given the opportunity to play a bigger role
Yeah.
this year. As not only on the floor, like being assigned more movements and having
Right.
more assignments during the races, which was really cool to do. But also help with data analysis. I'm really big
Okay,
into
yeah.
like that's kind of part of my role, like professionally. My full time job. I work in tech, so I'm
Okay,
really.
yeah.
And my degrees are both in computer science, so I really into like data analysis
Yeah.
and numbers and
Yeah.
things like that. And I love the sport of grid from the first season I was doing. I was like, Bradley, how can I contribute more to the team? Like, I love being a player, but I would love also to help with like, I don't know if you do that already, which we didn't as a team, but like helping more with like data analysis and like times and who is better placed where because of the statistics of like winning that race, whatever.
Yeah.
So long story short, I did have a role of like helping the team in that sense.
Very
like,
cool. Yeah.
With the time trials for every movement, trying to like help her on her coaching role of like, hey, here's what the data says. Like to help you to assign players to specific movements, and like the players would send the videos. I'll time them, say, hey, here's the rep speed for this player on this movement on this race, etc. So that was really cool. I really enjoy doing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And if one day I can no longer compete, I'll probably do something similar to help the team. Like, be like an assistant coach to do data analysis or something.
Yeah.
Because I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I think I'm still wondering if there's a way to kind of like use it for CrossFit. But like grid is very specific because it's such a finite race that there is like movement speed is such a key factor towards winning races.
Yeah.
And in CrossFit, there's a little bit more that goes, I think, into the race than just movement speed alone. Not that there isn't in grid, but it is a higher, a more weighted variable, I would say. So it's cool. It's cool you're able to bring that to the grid floor or to your grid team because I know Dan does some of that as well for the Wild. So
yeah, for sure. And he talks about it a lot. And I was like, I wonder if I can do the same.
Yeah.
And that Dan was part of like sparking that, that idea of like, I wonder if I can do the same to help the Palms.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did because like more and more teams are doing it for themselves. Like,
right.
If I want to say all the teams, I can't speak for all the teams, but I know for sure the Wild does it, the Sharks do it, the Brigade and the Breakers and the Palms. It's like almost the entire league has somebody or a few people
that'll
doing the data analysis
right.
to like, okay, so against these teams, we can run these people because like maybe they're not the fastest, but we still have enough time to beat them if they execute well, whatever. Like play the strategy like that and kind of, help build the rosters in a more like intelligent manner.
Right.
Besides just like, oh, I feel like you can do this. You know what I mean? Like, I think earlier years of grid, it was like, oh, you can do that, so like you could do it. But like now, it's so competitive and everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
And so it comes down to like, okay, so 4 people can do the same movement. Who can do the fastest?
Right.
And like, okay, the 2 people can do the fastest. I will be assigned that.
Right.
And like you will have backups, etc. So it's getting more and more intense in that manner because like,
well, it's becoming much more like that's what professional sports are. Is like
right.
the analytics of professional sports are trending in that direction, especially with baseball and like there's a lot of basketball analytics that they use. So it's super cool to see that that's becoming a thing inside of the sport, and like it just makes it even more and more like professionalized, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Not that trending in that direction at least.
Yeah, I think it will help. Even like even if it doesn't help, if it doesn't happen in the next like 3 or 4 years, but maybe let's say 5 years down the road, grid becomes a sustainable,
Yeah.
because it's been a professional sport before, but
Right.
maybe like a few years down the road, it becomes a sustainable professional sport where players are paid to play. And the statistics that we've been doing for the past, for at that point 5 years, like 5 years of statistics will help the sport to maintain and like continue to grow,
Right.
in a professional manner. So I
Right.
think it's a good thing that more teams are doing it.
For sure. Yeah. 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 Anytime something gets more competitive, it's always a good thing.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. So I guess what's your plans for, obviously we just kind of talked about maybe future of the grid, but what's your plans going forward for CrossFit? Just trying to compete as many competitions as possible, or?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're just talking about, kind of like recovery and burnout and stuff like that, which is super important, especially the season how it is now with like so many competitions. Not that I'm like, extremely high level athlete by any means, but even for folks like of my level, there's too many competitions that you can do. Like
Well,
you could compete almost every weekend.
right. And
if you wanted.
I think it's just as important, if not more important, for individuals who are looking to just go to kind of like RX level competitions, maybe not necessarily compete at the CrossFit Games, to make sure that they have a season planned out so that they aren't burnt out. Because like we were talking, I was like, yeah, I did 4 competitions. I did the Open, I did regionals, I did the games, and I did Granite Games. That was it through the year. But now we're running through your season. We're like, okay, so you did Fittest of the Coast. Then the next 6 weeks later, you did Crash. And then 6 weeks later, you were doing Grid.
And once a month Grid.
And then you just had a double matching Grid. And then you had Magic City Games. And then basically 8 weeks later, now you're going to Beach Brawl.
Beach Brawl, yeah.
Right after that is Fittest of the Coast qualifiers. And then 14 weeks after that is Fittest of the Coast. So it's like and to be honest, like you're kind of on the lighter end of a lot of competitors in CrossFit.
Right, yeah.
So like, we just listed out all that, and that's a lot. Like you didn't have any, up until this point, you haven't had anything longer than like a 8-week break leading into any competition right now.
Right.
Which is, it might seem like a long time, but in the grand scheme of like competition, that's not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time, yeah, because also if you're trying to, let's say, get stronger, right? That's a goal of mine. So you're doing a 6 to 8 week cycle. Like that's the time you have between competition, but you have to like, recover from the competition,
right?
And build up to the competition, and like not always like the times align perfectly. And
right.
For training, you also need some like bigger chunks of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, super important to manage that, and I'm learning more so this year. I felt like because of the intensity of everything, it was a bigger role, competing as an athlete alongside my full-time job. Like I don't do this for a living.
Yeah,
I have a full-time job.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, it's a balancing act for sure, and I'm sure that other people that do the same know it's super important to balance that. But looking forward is, like you said, Beach Brawl is going to be super fun. Looking forward to challenge myself for those 3 days. Unfortunately, last year we didn't have the first day because of the hurricane, so the first event got canceled. But hopefully to do the triathlon this year, Beach Brawl, and then 2 days jam-packed of workouts with individual and team.
Yep. Turn around and hit first week of Fittest of the Coast. Yeah.
Hoping to qualify for Indian team. So that's the plan for now. But beyond Fittest of the Coast, TBD.
Yeah. Sweet.
Grid next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Between Beach Brawl and then I'm not sure.
Yeah. We'll figure it. We got time.
Training.
We got some time. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah. Right on. Well, sweet, Artur. Thanks for coming on. How do people get a hold of you?
Instagram, Artur B. Cabral. So my first name, last name, a B in the middle.
What's the B stand for?
Is my Bessa is my other last name.
Bessa is your other last name?
Yeah. So in Brazil, short story, you have your first name usually. There's no rules like here, like first name, middle name, last name type of deal. So is your first name and whatever your parents want after that. So it's Bessa is my mom's last name.
Okay.
And Cabral is my dad's last name.
Huh. So you have no middle name?
No.
You just have 2 last names?
Yep.
That's crazy. That's sweet. Right on. Well, yeah, check them out on the Palms Instagram as well. You'll be featured on there. You maybe the United Grid League Instagram as well a couple of times. And then if you guys have any questions for Artur, definitely hit him up. But yeah, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time here. Thanks, Artur.
Thank you. All right.
See you. That was good.
That was good.
What'd you think?